Listen to me, not with your ears, with your life, because this is not entertainment. This is a reminder. You didn't come into this world to be comfortable. You came here to be tested, to be shaped, to be broken and rebuilt stronger. And somewhere along the way, you started believing life was supposed to be easy, that you were supposed to be understood, protected, comforted. But let me tell you something real. Comfort is not your destiny. Comfort is your enemy in disguise. Because every time you choose comfort, you are saying no to growth. Every time you avoid pressure, you are avoiding your purpose. You think the struggle is stopping you, but what if I told you the struggle is building you? You were not designed to sit still. You were not designed to stay soft. You were not designed to be average. You were built for resistance, built for pressure, built for war. And I'm not talking about war with people. I'm talking about war with yourself. The battle between discipline and distraction, between greatness and laziness, between purpose and excuses. Because every day you wake up, there is a war happening inside you, and only one side wins. You either choose comfort or you choose destiny, but you cannot choose both. And deep down, you already know this truth. That voice inside you that refuses to settle, that voice is not confusion. That is calling. Calling you out of comfort, calling you out of weakness, calling you into your real self. But here is the part most people avoid. Answering that call will cost you everything familiar. And that is why most people ignore it. They stay where it is safe. Where it is safe. They stay where nothing challenges them, and they call it peace. But it is not peace. It is slow death, because a life without struggle is a life without meaning. You were built for war. Now listen carefully, because this is where most people break. Not in public, but in private. Not in front of others, but alone with their thoughts. The real war is not outside. The real war is inside you. Every morning you wake up, there are two voices speaking. One voice says, stay in bed, stay comfortable, stay the same. And the other voice says, get up, become better, don't waste this day. And every single day you are choosing which voice wins. This is not about talent. This is not about luck. This is about control. Can you control yourself when no one is watching? Can you push yourself when nobody is clapping? Can you move forward when you feel nothing inside you? Because motivation will leave you. Feelings will betray you. But discipline stays when everything else disappears. You think successful people feel ready every day? No, they feel resistance too. They feel fear too. They feel doubt too. But they move anyway. That is the difference. Because greatness is not built in comfort. It is built in resistance, in repetition, in discipline when no one is watching. And let me tell you something you need to hear. Your biggest enemy is not life. It is not your situation. It is your excuses. The excuses you keep protecting are the chains keeping you stuck. I am tired. I will start tomorrow. It is not the right time. I am not ready yet. These are not reasons. These are decisions to stay the same. And every time you accept an excuse, you weaken your future. But every time you fight through resistance, you build strength you cannot see yet. That is how war works. Silent, daily, internal. And you are either winning it or losing it. There is no neutral ground. So ask yourself, when nobody is pushing you, what are you pushing yourself toward? Comfort or change? Because the truth is simple, the enemy is not out there. The enemy is the version of you that refuses to grow. And until you face that version, you will never become who you were meant to be. Now we go deeper, because this is the point where excuses don't just fade, they get exposed. You cannot become new while protecting the old version of yourself. Let that sink in, because the old you is comfortable. The old you knows shortcuts. The old you avoids pain, avoids pressure, avoids responsibility. But the new you, the version you keep talking about, the stronger you, the focused you, the disciplined you, that version cannot survive in comfort. Something has to break, and it is not the world, it is not other people, it is you. Your habits, your mindset, your patterns, your tolerance for excuses. Because right now, you are repeating cycles that are familiar, not because they are right, but because they are easy. And easy is dangerous. Easy keeps you average. Easy keeps you stuck. Easy keeps you repeating the same year over and over again, while calling it a life. But listen to me carefully. There comes a moment in every man's life where comfort becomes unbearable, not because life gets harder, but because the truth becomes louder. And the truth is this: you are capable of more. You know it. Even when you deny it, you know it. That frustration you feel, that emptiness when you waste a day, that guilt when you break your own promises, that is not weakness. That is awareness. Awareness that you are not aligned with your potential. And here is where war begins. Not outside, inside. Because the old you will fight back. It will say, you deserve rest. You've done enough. One more break won't hurt. But that voice is not your friend. That voice is the guard of your comfort zone. And if you listen to it too long, you will build a life you never intended to live. So what do? You interrupt it. You confront it. You override it. Not once, not twice, but daily, repeatedly, relentlessly. Because transformation is not a moment. It is a battle of repetition. Every time you wake up and choose discipline, you are killing the old version of yourself. Slowly, but permanently. Every time you choose action over delay, you weaken the identity of procrastination. Every time you choose discomfort, you expand your capacity for life. And let me be honest with you, this process is not emotional, it is not romantic, it is not inspiring in the moment, it is hard, it is repetitive, it is uncomfortable. But so is regret, so is wasted potential. So is looking back at your life and saying, I could have been more. You don't fear hard work, you fear failing again. You fear not seeing results fast enough. You fear giving your all and still feeling behind. But that fear is exactly where your strength is hiding. Where your strength is hiding. Because the man who learns to act in fear becomes unstoppable in life, not because fear disappears, but because fear loses authority. And that is what war does to you. It strips illusions. It removes comfort. It forces clarity. And clarity is dangerous because once you see who you can become, you can never fully go back to who you were. So understand this: you are not stuck. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are in transition between who you were and who you are becoming. But transition always requires sacrifice, and the first sacrifice is the old identity, the lazy version of you, the distracted version of you, the inconsistent version of you. That version must die, not physically but behaviorally, because your future is not waiting for motivation. Your future is waiting for discipline, does not negotiate. It does not wait for feelings. It does not ask for permission. It moves even when you don't want to, even when it hurts, even when it is quiet. So ask yourself right now, what version of you is still alive because you keep feeding it? And what version of you is dying because you refuse to become it? Now pay attention, because this is where everything changes. Not because life gets easier, but because you get harder. There is a moment in every transformation where you stop reacting and start controlling, stop surviving, and start leading yourself. And that moment does not come with noise. It comes quietly, in the decisions you make when no one sees you. Because discipline is not built in public. It is built in silence, in repetition, in boring moments that nobody celebrates. And this is where most people fail. They want transformation, but they refuse repetition. They want results, but they reject consistency. They want change, but they protect comfort. But listen carefully. Comfort and greatness cannot exist in the same body. One will always dominate. So the question is not, do you want to succeed? The real question is, what are you willing to sacrifice daily? Because discipline is not a motivation problem. It is an identity problem. You do not need to feel ready. You need to become someone who acts regardless of feeling. And that shift is where you become dangerous, not to others, but to your own limitations. Because once you stop negotiating with yourself, your entire life changes. No more, I will do it later. No more, I don't feel like it. No more, tomorrow I start. Tomorrow is a lie that keeps weak habits alive. And weak habits do not build strong lives. Now listen, there is a version of you that already exists. But it is trapped under excuses, under delay, under inconsistency. And every time you choose discipline, you are unlocking that version. Piece by piece, day by day. You are not becoming someone new. You are removing everything that is not you. And that is why it feels difficult. Because you are not adding strength. You are removing weakness. Noe. And the removal process hurts. Because your mind resists change. Your body resists pressure. Your habits resist interruption. But resistance is not a sign to stop. It is a sign you are finally moving correctly. Because nothing important grows without resistance. Not muscle. Not mindset. Not success. Not identity. Everything strong is built under pressure. Now understand this deeply. Your life right now is a reflection of what you tolerate. Not what you want. Not what you dream. But what you tolerate daily. If you tolerate distraction, you build a distracted life. If you tolerate inconsistency, you build instability. If you tolerate excuses, you build limitation. But if you tolerate discipline, even when it hurts, even when it feels pointless, even when nobody is watching, you build power. And power is not loud. Power is consistent. You will not feel powerful in the beginning. You will feel tired. You will feel resistance. You will feel doubt. But power is not a feeling. Power is a result of repetition. Now here is the shift. The moment you stop asking, can I do this? And start saying, I am the kind of person who does this. That is identity transformation. That is where discipline becomes automatic. That is where excuses lose access to you. Because now, you are not trying to be disciplined. You are disciplined. You are disciplined. And once identity changes, behavior follows, showing closely. There will be days when nothing feels right. Days when progress feels invisible. Days when quitting feels logical. But discipline is not built for good days. It is built for difficult ones. Because easy days do not define you. Hard days reveal you. And every time you refuse to quit on a hard day, you are building a version of yourself that cannot be broken easily. You are training resilience. You are building emotional control. You are strengthening identity. And slowly, without noise, you become someone different. Not because life changed, but because you changed how you respond to life. That is power. Real power. Quiet power. Unshakable power. Now understand something important. You will never arrive at discipline. You will maintain it, daily, relentlessly. Because the moment you relax, the old version tries to return. So this is not a phase, this is a lifestyle, a standard, a war you continue to fight every day. But now you fight differently, not with confusion, but with clarity. Not with emotion, but with structure. Not with hope, but with identity. And slowly, you stop being the person who reacts to life and become the person who directs it. And that is when people around you will not understand you anymore. Because they will still be negotiating with comfort while you are no longer available for it. They will see consistency and call it obsession. They will see discipline and call it extreme. They will see focus and call it distance. But what they do not understand is that you are no longer building a lifestyle. You are building a legacy. And legacy requires war, internal war, daily war, silent war. So ask yourself now, are you still entertaining the old version of you, or are you finally ready to end it? And because you cannot rise while protecting what is holding you down. Now listen, because this is where most people either rise or disappear into their own excuses forever. There is a point in your life where you realize something terrifying and something powerful at the same time. Your limits are not real, they are trained, they are repeated, they are accepted. You did not inherit your weakness. You practiced it. You did not inherit your discipline. You delayed it. You did not inherit your failure. You repeated the patterns that led to it. And that means something powerful. If it was learned, it can be unlearned. But here is the truth most people avoid. Unlearning pain is harder than learning comfort. Because comfort feels safe even when it is destroying you. Now understand this deeply every time you say, I can't. I'm not ready. This is too hard. You are not describing reality. You are defining identity. And identity becomes prison when it is built on limitation. But here is where transformation happens. You stop agreeing with limitation. You stop negotiating with fear. You stop respecting excuses, because excuses are not thoughts. They are habits of surrender. And you cannot become unstoppable while still surrendering to your feelings. Listen carefully. Feelings are not instructions. They are signals, and most people misinterpret signals as commands. I feel tired becomes I should stop. I feel doubt becomes I am not capable. I feel pressure becomes I should escape. But warriors do not obey feelings. They interpret them. They move anyway. Now let me break something open for you. The strongest version of you is not the one that never struggles. It is the one that continues despite struggle. That is real strength, not perfection, not ease, not comfort. Consistency under resistance. That is power. And you have already felt it. Those rare moments when you pushed through, when you didn't quit, when you surprised yourself. That was not luck. That was you. But you did not stay there. Because comfort pulled you back. Now ask yourself, why does comfort always win? Because it is familiar. And familiarity feels like safety, even when it is destroying your future. But the truth is simple. Nothing great is familiar at first. Everything powerful feels foreign before it feels normal. So if discipline feels hard, you are not wrong. You are early. Now listen, you are going to hit resistance again and again. Not once, not twice, repeatedly. And every time you hit it, you will have two choices, retreat or evolve. And evolution always feels like pressure, because you are stretching beyond what you were. Now here is the shift. You stop asking, why is this hard? And start saying, this is where I grow. That single shift changes everything. Because pain is no longer a stop sign. It becomes a signal of expansion. And expansion is uncomfortable, because it forces you out of your current identity. Now understand this. You are not stuck in life. You are stuck in identity loops. Same decisions, same reactions, same habits, same outcomes. But nothing changes until identity breaks, when repetition changes. Not once, not twice, not twice, not twice, but consistently. You don't become unstoppable in a moment. You become unstoppable through refusal. Refusal to quit. Refusal to return, refusal to stay weak. Now let's go deeper. There will be moments where nobody believes in your process, where results are invisible, where effort feels wasted. And this is where most people collapse. Because they think progress must be visible. But real progress is often silent. Muscle grows before it shows. Character builds before it speaks. Strength develops before it is recognized. So if you cannot see results yet, it does not mean nothing is happening. It is happening. It means everything is being built beneath the surface. Now listen carefully. The person you are becoming is not built in motivation. It is built in repetition. And repetition is where most people quit. Because repetition feels meaningless until it becomes identity. But once it becomes identity, you no longer think about it, you just are it. And that is where power lives, not in effort, but in embodiment. Now ask yourself honestly, what version of you is still running your life? The disciplined one, or the distracted one, or the distracted, the focused one, or the comfortable one? Because only one of them can lead. The other will always justify delay. And every day you delay, you are voting for a weaker future. But every day you act, you are building a stronger identity. And that identity will eventually become your life. So understand this final truth in this block. You are not trying to become unstoppable. You are removing everything that stops you. And what remains is power. Quiet, controlled, unbreakable. Now listen, because this is the part nobody claps for. Nobody celebrates it. Nobody understands it. This is the silent phase, where your effort is invisible, where your growth is unrecognized, where your discipline feels pointless to everyone except you. And this is exactly where most people quit. Not because it is impossible, but because it is unseen. Because human ego wants validation. It wants results to be noticed. It wants progress to be acknowledged. But growth does not care about attention. Growth cares about repetition. And repetition happens in silence. You are going to wake up on days where nobody notices your effort, nobody praises your discipline, nobody rewards your consistency. And that is the test. Not the gym, not the job, not the goal, but the silence, because silence exposes intention. Are you doing it to be seen, or are you doing it to become something real? Most people cannot survive this phase, because when applause disappears, their discipline disappears with it. But listen carefully, real transformation is never loud. It is slow, it is invisible, it is private. You do not become strong in front of others. You become strong when nobody is watching. That is where identity is formed, in repetition without reward. Comfort disguised as reward, and this is where many people collapse, not because they were weak before, but because they got comfortable too early. Listen carefully. Breakthrough is not permission to relax. Breakthrough is proof that discipline is working. But discipline only works if you keep applying it. Not when it is easy, but especially when it is not, because success does something dangerous. It whispers, "You've done enough, you deserve rest. You can slow down now." And if you listen to that voice too early, you will lose everything you built in silence. Now understand this deeply. Breakthrough is not arrival, it is exposure. It exposes your habits. It exposes your mindset. It exposes whether you are truly disciplined or just temporarily. Consistency under pressure is the real test. Now life will start changing around you. Opportunities will appear, people will notice you, doors will begin to open, but don't mistake movement for mastery. Movement for mastery. Just because things are working doesn't mean the war is over. It means the battlefield has expanded. Now your discipline is being tested at a higher level. Before, you had to fight laziness. Now you must fight distraction. Before, you had to fight invisibility. Now you must fight attention. Before, you had to fight doubt. Now you must fight ego. And ego is dangerous because ego tells you you are already there, when in reality you are just getting started. Now listen, the biggest trap in this phase is satisfaction. The feeling that you have made it. But let me tell you something real. You have not made it. You have only proven that you can start. And starting is not the same as finishing. Finishing requires something deeper. It requires identity stability. It requires discipline without emotion. It requires execution even when results are already coming. Now understand this truth. Breakthrough is not for celebration. It is for elevation. It is not the time to slow down. It is the time to stabilize. Because what you build now will decide how long your success lasts. Now let's go deeper. This is the phase where your habits are either strengthened or slowly corrupted. Because success does not destroy people. Comfort inside success does. And comfort always arrives quietly. It does not look like failure. It looks like reward. Take a break. You've earned it. You can skip today. And slowly discipline starts fading. Not instantly, gradually, silently. Until one day you are no longer the person who built it. You are the person managing what you built. And that is dangerous because builders stay sharp. Because now the world is watching, but more importantly, your habits are being judged by your future. And your future does not reward potential. It rewards consistency. Now listen to me. This is the final part. But it is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of your identity. Because everything you have been through, everything you have fought, everything you have survived in silence was not random. It was preparation. You were not being delayed. You were being developed. You were not being punished. You were being forged. And now you are not the same person who started this message. Even if your life looks the same, something inside you has shifted. Because once you see truth, you cannot unsee it. You were never meant to live small, never meant to stay average. Never meant to stay stuck in cycles that repeat pain. You were built for war, not comfort. But now understand something deeper. The war was never only outside. It was never just discipline, never just habits, never just struggle. The real war was your identity. Who you believe you are controls everything. Not motivation, not circumstances, not luck, identity. And now you have seen both sides, the weak version that negotiates with excuses and the strong version that refuses to quit. Now the question is no longer, can you change? You will change. The question is, who will you choose to be from this moment forward? Because every second you are reinforcing identity. Every action, every decision, every response is either building discipline or rebuilding weakness. There is no pause button. There is no neutral life. There is no neutral life. There is only direction. upward or backward. Now listen carefully. You will still feel resistance. You will still feel doubt. You will still face days where nothing feels right. But here is what changes now. You no longer obey those feelings. You understand them. You observe them. But you do not follow them because you are no longer led by emotion. You are led by decision. And that is what separates you now. Not talent, not intelligence, not opportunity, but control. Self-control, mental control, discipline control. And once you gain control, you stop reacting to life and start shaping it. Now understand this deeply. You are not chasing greatness anymore. You are becoming the standard of discipline, the standard of focus, the standard of consistency, and standards do not fluctuate. Mistake. Now understand this final truth. You do not arrive at greatness. You maintain it every day, every decision, every moment. And if you stop maintaining it, you start losing it. Quietly, slowly, silently. So the work never ends, but the identity changes everything.